Welcome back. Douche is having a beer. Just a little Voodoo Ranger from New Belgium Brewing in Colorado. So we're doing, I guess it's mostly new finds. Then there's one to prove a point, and then if there's time, there's just a couple others that I had spun recently that I was going to show. One thing I wanted to mention first, I don't know if you guys catalog your stuff in Discogs, but I don't know if you ever notice that something that you have will be a limited edition of 500 or 1,000 or 2,000 or whatever, and you look and you go to put it in, and it's in more people's collections than there are supposedly copies made. I've seen that several times, and this week I actually received an email notification, like a change notification to something in your collection. I think it's Melody Nelson, you know. I didn't even know that it was limited, but apparently the listing said it was a limited edition of 2,000. But over 2,300 people have it. And so the change thing was, you know, to remove the limited edition of 2,000, saying that that seems a bit dubious if more than 2,300 people have, you know. That's interesting. So before I go to the bathroom on the couch and, you know, I don't have a dog to blame it on, let's show some records and see if we can get through this. First up is something from 1982. I've seen a few people show this recently, and I only ever had it at the time of the 2001 CD reissue. It had bonus tracks and whatever. But it's the Dream Syndicate, Days of Wine and Roses. I always think Swine and Roses. But, you know, Steve Wynn. I think that it's kind of, I don't know if it's a cool thing to say. I think that I probably heard Steve Wynn's solo records before, I know I did, before I ever heard this in its entirety. I think I had heard the song, The Days of Wine and Roses. But I saw Steve Wynn live and heard multiple records before I heard this. And then in 2000, I don't know if I got the one before or heard the CD version that came out before, but this is a really good record if you haven't heard it. This particular one is in pretty nice shape, except there's some sticker residue down here, and it's in the location and it's the size of a sticker that indicates that this record was at a Goodwill. This is where, that's where they always, around here, that's where they stick the stickers. I did not get this at Goodwill. I don't think that I mentioned it. It's a US original. It's on Ruby Records. It's kind of crazy. I see a couple people show it in some other videos, and then I ran into one at a store cheaply. Next one is one I've been looking for a while. It's from 1995. It actually has a hype sticker. So it's Elastica's debut record. This is a US original copy. I think I mentioned this. I wanted this for a while. I think that the prices have come down because there was a reissue. Rough Trade had done a reissue, a remastered reissue that I think is only, I don't know if it's only in the UK, but it's not easily attainable here. If you were going to get this here, it would cost just a little bit less than this. So I've jumped on this. This is a pretty nice copy, as you can see, and the vinyl is as good or better, and it still has everything. It has the inner sleeve, the hype sticker was in there, has the fan club book that was in there. Cool thing about this, I saw them, Elastica, twice for this record. So I guess the first time was, I believe it was the first US show, which was in a tiny place in Minneapolis that was packed. It was like 150 people can fit in there. And then I saw them later when they were quite a bit bigger, and they played in a larger, they played in the First Avenue main room. And I believe, yeah, I'm pretty sure that they filmed part of one of their music videos in there, for what it's worth. The cool thing about this catalog, if you want to call it a catalog, is it has there's a shirt I bought from the first show, their first US show, I guess. That's in here, that's there. And it's, it was a shirt that had, it said Elastica on a Vaseline container, a container of Vaseline, and the Vaseline glowed in the dark. It was something. So anyway, so as I said, it's a US original on DGC. In nice shape. Next, we have a reissue of a 1993 record on Omnivore Records. It's the Posies Frosting on the Beater. So this, you know, the Posies from Seattle. It's power pop, but it's 1993, and they're from Seattle. The guitar sound is, if you want to say, grungy. So when I picked this up, I was fully prepared to be disappointed in the quality of what they're selling. This is kind of expensive. It's a double 45 that comes in this. So it's not a gatefold. It's not 180 gram vinyl. I don't need it to be 180 gram vinyl, you know, if it sounds good. It's cut by Kevin Gray for vinyl, double 45 RPM. The vinyl sounds great. Pressing is good, it's quiet. The drums pop out. I can't complain about that. The jacket sucks. To stick it in this, to stick two records in this, you know, it's flimsy. I saw somebody mention that that Bob Dylan bootleg series also is a similar, comes in this. But you can get one of those for $15. You can't right now get one of these for, this was, I guess what I'm saying is, this was priced like something that should come in a gatefold. Anyway, the sound is excellent. It's not 180 gram vinyl, but it's nice. And it's double 45, which can be annoying. This record is only 50 minutes long. However, I didn't find it that annoying with this. I have more patience maybe than some people on that kind of thing anyway. But 2 of the 4 sides are fairly long for a record running. It's not like in 8 minutes running at 45 RPM. It was pushing the limits of what could fit on a 45 RPM 12-inch side. So the next one's not a new find. I got this when it was released, but it is, you know, I had the turntable spinning at 45 RPMs. I might as well get another 4. This was a reissue of something that was originally released around the same time, so a year sooner, 1992. And then they reissued it last year, or maybe it was 2017 or early 2018. Reissued as a double 45 RPM. So Sub Pop did this. It's Congregation by the Afghan Waves, which is a record I really like. You can see they managed to throw a gatefold into this. It's also 180 gram vinyl on both. Well, obviously on both, are they gonna do one or the other? I guess I pulled this out to listen to it, but also then I was thinking, well, they can do this for less money than Omnivore. And I don't know if it's Sub Pop economies of scale, they're pressing way more records, but I think Omnivore, well, I'm not gonna get into that. But this is also colored vinyl, the cool guy colored vinyl. That's not really a deal breaker for me. Yeah. I think if the Posies I think is great, and if you're into that album at all, it's worth it. But it makes it harder for me to say, you know, if you kind of like it, I don't know, why would, anyway. Next, I think my New Year's resolution is going to be to stop complaining more starting next video. Next, I found a copy of this. Leonard Cohen, Signs of Love and Hate. It's like a textured sleeve. I saw this at the store. It feels like an original. The record came out in 1971. And then I pulled the record out. And it's on a 2i Columbia. And it doesn't feel, I don't know how to explain it. It doesn't feel right if you're used to handling US 2i Columbia pressings. The thing is super clean, and so it was reasonably priced. I bought it not really sure what I was buying, but when I got it home I realized that it's a 1971 Canadian pressing, so a Canadian original, and apparently, and I'm sure a lot of people know this, I didn't know this, they were released on 2i's in 1971. Next, we're getting older. Did I mention this? Not a lot of variety. This is the incredible string band, The Hangman's Beautiful Daughter. This is a US original on Elektra. It's not in the best of condition. You can maybe see the sleeve is not great. The vinyl is pretty good. That's why I decided to grab it. It was cheap too. I don't know. I don't think this is a super expensive record in any, unless it's sealed or whatever. But you know, Scottish, folk site. This is the first one that, first record of theirs that I ever really got into. And I think it might still be my favorite. Maybe there's one or two that can compete that are around that time that I also really like, but yep. Elektra original. Next one we have is a thrift store find. And I mentioned before I don't find stuff at, I don't have a lot of luck at thrift stores. I'm not Naz Nomad. But this is kind of cool. It's not expensive if you want to get, it's just, so it's a 12-inch single, which is not something that I typically am seeking out. I used to try and grab 12-inch singles. If I was into an artist, I would get them. But now I don't do that anymore so much, generally speaking. But this is the band Lush, and this is an EP called Mad Love. So this is a UK, it has the Made in England sticker on it. It's a UK 12-inch single. This is their first EP. It was released after their first mini LP, I guess. It has the song Deluxe, which is kind of a big song, one of the early big songs, probably the first big song, big-ish song. Leaves Me Cold, Downer, and Thought Forms. So this is from 1990, it's on 4AD. There's the label. So yeah, it's not expensive and it's not something I'd go out of my way to get, but for $1 at a thrift store in, I mean, great condition, I'm all about it. Next, 1986. This is just something that I hadn't picked up. I don't know if I've ever had this in any configuration, cassette, CD, or whatever, but it's Love and Rockets Express. Just your run-of-the-mill 1986, yeah, 1986 original. Their second LP, which was released on Big Time Records. It's a cheapie. It's a good record. I've seen Love and Rockets. I saw them, I didn't see them then. I saw them in the 90s. It's a pretty terrific show, actually. Yeah, all right. So those were the new finds, and then the Afghan Wigs wasn't, but the rest of those were new finds. Last two I'm gonna show are just things that I spun recently that I thought I would share out. So Built to Spill, this is the record Perfect From Now On. This is from 1997. This is not an original, this is a repress, or I think it's a remaster from maybe 2012 or 2000, I think it's even older than that. But anyway, this is a really good record. They're from Idaho. If you don't know them, Doug March. It's really just Doug March. This is the third record on their major label debut. He had a unique contract for the time where he basically could do whatever, like more or less could do whatever he wanted, like without any intervention from the label. I think he recorded this 3 times. I think they lost the tapes once, but so if you like Built to Spill and you haven't heard this, which I don't know if that's possible, it's possible, I guess it's possible. It's worth listening to this. The songs are longer, the guitar work is outstanding. I think that the songs are good. If you like Modest Mouse and you haven't heard this, this is, you should listen to this. So last thing here. This is the Halo Benders from 1998. This is their last record, their third record on K Records. This is an original, has the insert and all that stuff. So if you don't know who this is Doug March from Built to Spill. It's a side project with Calvin Johnson from Dub Narcotic Sound System, K Records. This was kind of a big deal to some people at the time it came out in 1998. In the world that I lived in, the song Your Asterisk was a big hit song, big hit single. What else is there? There's a lot of great songs on it. It's got, you know, Virginia Reel Around the Fountain, Devil City Destiny. It's, if you don't know Calvin Johnson, he has this like really deep voice. And I think that's going to be instant turn on, or his voice is maybe an instant turn off for a lot of people, but if you like his voice, and if you're a fan of Built to Spill and you haven't heard this, even though the music is different, it's still a really good listen. Anyway, 1998, Halo Benders, Rebel's Not In. All right, I think we got through what we want to get through. I want to thank everyone for watching, coming into my living room, which isn't very well lit. I think it's because I'm doing these at night. I'm not getting any kind of natural light, but what are you gonna do? And I might do some different kinds of videos, maybe ranking videos or spotlight videos, maybe like top 10 reasons to own a dog. Like number 1, you can pee on the couch and blame the dog on it or for it, or throw up in the closet. Oh, the dog must have thrown up in the closet. You know, that kind of thing. All right, thanks for stopping out. Talk to you guys later. Bye.